Hello, everyone. My name is Maddie. I'm the conference director at Corinium. And today we're embarking on a profound conversation with a true expert in modern DevOps. Joining us is Nimisha Balyan, chapter lead at Telstra. Nimisha, thank you for joining us, and it's great to have you here.
Thank you, Maddie. It's great to be here too.
So before we dive into our discussion, can you introduce yourself to our audience? Tell us about your experiences.
Sure, Maddie. And hello, everybody. Thanks for coming to this link and listen to me. I'm chapter lead at Telstra. Chapter lead is like a group leader, team leader for a group of specialists. My current role is a combination of delivery accountable plus the people leadership of project specialist. We do dwell into a lot of large corporation implementations as well as project development and implementation, which has both technology and network side from Telstra. And as I said, I'm accountable for deliveries, so I do actually get into a lot of project-related conversations um, with a strong people element into it.
Thanks, Nimisha. In this interview, we'll delve into the human factors that influence the experiences and outcomes of individuals and teams within the DevOps process. So let's just jump right in. So since DevOps is fundamentally about fostering a collaborative and adaptive culture, understanding human-centric elements is crucial for ensuring that metrics not only drive performance, but also enhance team dynamics and support a thriving organizational culture. So my first question is, how would you define the human side of DevOps metrics in your context?
I like the first question itself. It's great. So, Maddie, DevOps, development operations. If you think about the technical side of it, there are many things which we talk about the frameworks, the tools, the technology, but the underlying backbone of that is human. People who are actually contributing and implementing it and making it successful to deliver all those customer outcomes. How I define the human side of DevOps. There are many factors, but I try to keep as brief as possible and the salient factors around it. One is team collaboration and communication. I think that goes without saying that you cannot have a successful outcome without a great team collaboration. Everybody who's involved in that value chain collaborate each other and have a great communication. So, there are many metrics which we implement for such things like cross-functional meetings, the feedback loops, the collaboration tools, and tools as easy as it can be so that the whole team can use it. The other part is that how people are feeling, how satisfied are they, the overall well-being of those team members, the employee satisfaction, uh, how is the whole ways of working set up for that group, what's the work-life balance looks like. A lot of organization, including mine, we do a lot of different engagement surveys, work-life balances scores. Those are the factors matrix which we look into. We on a frequent basis discuss it with our employees, our team members. I've seen that some of the organization actually have metrics around burnout rates, and in fact, to an extent, job satisfaction scores also. Understanding those would actually help us to understand the employee morale and get a great idea on their overall well-being. So when we talk about collaboration communication, when we talk about employee satisfaction and well-being, there's a great element which we have to look at is overall learning and development. As it goes for you or for me, any job which we do helps us learning. But while we are doing that, there has to be a systematic pathway for the development of individual. So what kind of trainings are being provided? What kind of certifications? What kind of continuous learning programs are implemented? That actually matters a lot when we look into that, how we are handling the human side. of DevOps. It's an ever-evolving industry, as we all know. Individuals are interested to stay ahead of the curve, and those are a couple of the metrics which an organization can implement to, foster a growth mindset. One more factor which I wanted to touch upon is the overall change resilience and adaptability. We're talking about more than technology change here. We're talking about process change. We are talking about continuous leadership change. There are times when organizations can be in uncertain phase, but how resilient are our employee? What are the tools which we have provided them to, path through and maneuver through those phases? How fast can they adapt to the new processes of the tool? What is the success rate looks like in such changes when that get implemented? And how strong are our change management practices and the learning of those practices? I think at high level, I would say there are many factors, but these four overall actually defines the minute difference of success and failure.
Thank you, Nimisha. You just shared so many great insights, and I couldn't agree more. You touched base on the culture, but my second question is kind of probably a little bit overlap, but how does your organization's culture shape the way that ops metrics are implemented and understood by the teams? And, are there any challenges that, you have to overcome in a way?
Yeah, yeah. So I would actually lean on my overall experience, more than 2 decades, actually, and various experiences which I've got working in different teams, different groups. The outcomes were different, whether it was product development, technology implementation, system built, or anything. But I think organization, one of the things which I've seen is very successful is pivoting and keeping the human factor at heart, understanding that. Uh, my view is that the value which we pose on agile, I'm not talking about frameworks here. I'm not even talking about methodology, but the agile principle, where collaboration is higher than writing documentation and creating competition between the team. I think that creating that kind of culture actually foster a great team performance. The effectiveness of collaboration between development and operations and different stakeholders actually reduces a lot of other metrics which we create. For example, time to market, total cost of ownership, and all. So that value placement on collaboration then competition, making it a common goal between development and operations rather than separate metrics for two different teams is very important. And that's where I've seen a lot of improvement comes into the entire value chain. Another thing, when it comes to communication, one is communicating and one is actually communicating with total transparency and openness. Now, obviously, to have transparency and openness, there is this underlying psychological safety culture, which is important. So I've seen very successful organizations taking it very seriously to create such supportive environment where it is acceptable to fail and then pivot and learn from it. It's a psychological safe environment to challenge if there are processes which needs to be challenged or some decision which needs to be challenged. So that communication will become more transparent and open as we create such cultural shift into the organization. Teams are regularly informed about the different matrices which are being implemented and why it has been implemented. Why is a very profound question, a lot of time which we miss and we come back to. And then we explain the messaging that why we are doing it. The more buy-in we get from the people, the better are the results. That's what I have seen in my experience. One more thing, when we talk about openness, it's not just about why we are implementing such matrices. It is important sometimes to train the people to understand how they are calculated. What does it actually mean? When we say reduce the deployment cycle, how are we going to calculate it? Because I've seen that sometimes the definition of that also changes team to team, group to group based on the business. So it's important to have that information circulated at the broader level for everybody who's involved in it. And there are great impacts which I have seen. One thing which I particularly as a leader implement and stress upon a lot is a culture of continuous improvement. It is really important for organizations to understand the value of continuous improvement. So we might be actually doing it good enough today, but are we going to do better tomorrow? That's the kind of mindset which needs to be fostered at the organizational level, and that's what I've seen in my past experiences, where we pivot towards this growth mindset, implementing and fostering that, and helping people understand what it means, actually yield into greater results than we actually we could have thought of. So implementing DevOps matrices, which can encourage iterative progress as innovation, is much more important than great results today with no insight of improvement. So I think overall, my takeaway on that is there are many cultural stuff which can be changed based on people, based on nature of work, based on the vision of the organization. But some of these factors which I mentioned are primary and fundamental for all organizations.
Thank you for that. You touched base on, the role of leader in fostering the growth mindset. Actually, my next question was, in what ways can leadership be more proactive in addressing the human challenges associated with DevOps? Do you want to, explore more on that or add anything to your previous comment?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. It's very close to my heart too. And I always talk about that leadership is actually showing and doing, not just telling. So, invest yourself completely and be a part of that change. So lead by example. There are things which I feel particularly I look at is, and it might actually just get into too technical from a cognitive behavior therapy side, but prioritize emotional intelligence and empathy within the team as a leader. Showcase that, as a leader. So DevSecOps or DevOps, when we implement DevOps, we're talking about complex communication channel pathway. We're talking about big team. We're talking about stress and pressure situations. It always happens. Most of the time it happens. I shouldn't say always, but most of the time it happens that team do go through those stressful and pressure phases. What's really important is to, as a leader, is to showcase emotional intelligence and come from an empathy. Showcase that, help people understand that, and then try to implement, apply those things in creating those matrices, which we create either as a collective metrics for the team or individual also. So the way we interact with our team members, how we understand metrics might impact emotions or stress level. For example, if we will implement number of commits at an individual level as a matrix, try to understand what it means. What kind of culture is it inculcating in your team? Is it actually inculcating higher productivity, or is it inculcating low collaboration and pressure situation? So it's really important as a leader to understand the impact of those matrices which we are implementing and showing intelligence, emotional intelligence around it. Regularly check in with your team member talk to them, it's not always just the surveys and those scorecards. It's about actual metrics driven retrospective. Be part of that. Another thing which I've implemented myself and I have seen that it impacts at a greater level is to have a clear, realistic, and collaborative goals. So we can all set up goals, and the economy is goal oriented. But are we actually setting them realistic? Are we having them, are these clear to everybody who's involved, who's getting impacted, or who will be an impact for those goals? And is it collaborative enough? Is it actually creating a hero syndrome? So this is something which I'm very conscious about, that we don't create heroes. The hero should be the team, not individuals alone. So ensure the goals set through DevOps metrics are realistic and achievable, and it encourages collaboration. It engages the team. I talked about growth mindset a couple of times before, but what is the method of implementing a growth mindset? You can't actually dictate people to have growth mindset. We have to encourage a culture. We might actually, and there are tools available to implement your metrics, which will foster a growth mindset. So look into those. What are those tools? Do you have direction-driven learning and development program in your organization? If not, that what can you do so that people can learn and continuously feel there is value of continuous learning and innovation? That could be that could be a great motivator for a growth mindset. So implement such matrices which uses these fundamental drivers to change a cultural shift. As another thing, money is very important. Money is important for the organization. Money is important for us as leaders to put it into different bucket. Have a bucket for ongoing training and support for your team members. Get an understanding from the team what's needed, because it's important to not just rely on your own instinct and knowledge, but bring people into the conversations and decision making, and then create something which is useful and broader. So what those regular training sessions will look like, whether it would be training sessions or whether it be collaborative workshop sessions, whether it should be mentoring programs. A lot of time we use tool in different ways, and sometime within the team that knowledge is not widespread. So how do you do that? So you're not spending a lot of money, but it's a different way of managing that skill set, enhancing that skill set. At last, I would say that one more thing which is very important is to keep talking about the success story and a culture of recognition and celebration. It not always need to be supported by an award or a reward, but having a culture which recognize successes, irrespective of how big or small it is. It is a culture of storytelling of your successes and journey would just make people ease into sharing their learning, whether it is how to do things or whether it is how not to do things. So as a leader, I think there are many other things which we can do, but if we start from here, we are committing ourselves 100% in the success of overall goal and helping our team to continuously improve with time.
Very fascinating. I'm taking away some great learnings from this conversation. Yeah, so maybe a little bit changing the direction. So looking ahead of talking about future, how do you envision the integration of advanced technologies such as AI, machine learning, impacting the human side of DevOps?
Yeah, I'm actually learning, Maddie. I'm learning every day about these technologies, and there's a heaps of information and data on internet right now on AI and ML, and I think we have enough polarity around that, whether it should be there or should not be there, whether it's good or it's bad. But I just wanted to, and this is how I think that every change which we witness in our lifetime has a pro and con, if you want to say that. But it's about how we utilize that change. How do we turn that change into an opportunity and not a challenge? Um, in my view, AI and ML can do heaps and heaps of benefit for all of us, and particularly in DevOps fraternity. I completely feel that integration of these advanced technologies will significantly improve and impact the human side of DevOps also. We have, we heard a lot in our discussion about the people impact of DevOps, emotional investment, the stress and pressure situation. We have heard that how even a stress at work can impact work-life balance, and the amount of work which is needed sometime to even create a matrix could be Herculean, right? That effort which is required to even understand what would be the right matrix for my organization could be massive. So I feel these AI or any advanced technology can help us to provide that data to make better decisions. So there are many positive impacts, I would say. Um, AI and ML can analyze these vast amount of data quicker, quicker than human beings, and they can identify patterns, trends, anomalies, which can be missed by humans. So, they can predict such potential issues or recommend uh, overall recommendations or optimizations. So while AI and ML is doing that, human can focus more on these higher problem statements, decision-making capabilities, strategic task, at our hand, because other things can be taken care by AI. So very interestingly, I think I saw on LinkedIn, someone says that I want my AI to do the dishes and laundry so that I can be more creative and spend my time more on art. I feel like it's exactly that's how my mind works. That use this advanced technology to do all those mundane, cumbersome tasks. Monitoring and alerting, and not putting some automation and some AI around where is the potential of technical debt? Where could we have performance bottlenecks? So if AI and ML is focusing on those tasks, I can focus my time on more creative, fulfilling work, which can lead to job satisfaction, which can lead to innovation, which can lead to those creative solutions which we are looking for. So even now, today, there are many problem statements which needs to be addressed by technology, but we don't have enough human power to do that. So while we are using AI and ML to do those repetitive tasks for us, we can actually focus on those problem statements and come with much more creative and technical solutions. Even the predictive metrics, right, for the proactive management, which we do for DevOps. If we are using our AI solutions to forecast all those potential issues and bottlenecks or problems, concerns, which currently our team has to monitor or proactively look into the logs and data files, then we can use that time to do innovative stuff. And there's another part, like when such things are handled by AI, the stress situation, things which are failing, at a vast level, can be managed by AI, and then human can be spared by those stressed and pressure situation. That's I guess that's a very positive and very encouraging aspect of these advanced technology. But as I said, everything comes with its own challenges and considerations at a high level. So I feel what's important is overall for all of us, especially in the DevOps environment, is that while we use all these technology to make things better and make things better for us and for the customer, we should not over rely on such technology. So it should not make us lazy or take that edge away. We should use AI so that we can always have an edge. We always are over the curve. We don't let AI make all the decisions for us so that we just lose the complete touch of what's the underlying processes, what are the underlying systems. That's important. I think another part, considering security, is right at the center for me for every single thing. Data privacy and ethical concerns around AI. That's something which I feel is a great concern. But it's like a strong consideration for everything when we implement such advanced technology, that when we let AI process all those large amount of data, are we keeping an eye on our privacy, keeping an eye on how ethical it is, and what could actually what could it mean by processing such large amount of data in terms of potential biases in the algorithm also. So there is a there is a human factor required when we allow AI to do it, and we continuously work on that. So however uncomfortable this conversation is, it is important for us to always consider that and have that when we implement such solution in our DevOps environment. What's ethical, what's moral, and are we making sure that our data is protected as it is required. And overall, I think there is a shift in the way we are thinking now, but I would still feel there is this underlying anxiety that there will be job displays because of AI, and it can impact overall well-being for humans. So it's important to keep that in mind wherever it's needed as a leader, to reassure your team member that AI is intended to help them, to augment their task, not them. It's like it's not replacing them. So at the end, I would say that as it happens in life, balance is the key. We need to balance AI integration with human involvement. We need to be transparent and inclusive when we are doing such changes in terms of implementing any AI solutions, any tools, or even if we are implementing a particular algorithm, what is the intent and the outcome we are expecting from that algorithm or technology. Are we continuously encouraging our team to learn and upskill so that the team member is always staying ahead of the curve? So there's no anxiety around, oh, I would lose my job because AI would do it. Because AI will do the previous job you are doing. You're always ready for your next challenge. Our matrices, as I have talked a lot in the last couple of questions, that our matrices have to involve human as one of the factors. So we need to have technology-driven matrix and human-centric matrices as an organization, as a group. And as I said, have to think about how do we implement AI ethically? How do we focus on fairness, transparency, accountability, privacy, and ensure that all the team members feel that their contributions, their voices are heard, their ideas are heard, and then respected and valued.
Thank you, Nimisha. This discussion is expanding my understanding. It's such an exciting time to be in the industry, isn't it? So that comes to our end of interview. Thank you so much, Nimisha, for an incredibly insightful interview. I'm learning so much from our conversation. And to our viewers, mark your calendars as Nimisha will be joining us as a panelist at Modern DevOps Melbourne on 8th of October. Join us at Grand Hyatt as we continue to explore the world of modern DevOps. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Nimisha.
Thank you, Maddie.